Sakshi Anand, extend my warm welcome to all present here on behalf of English Literary Association of Navyu. We are here gathered for one-day workshop on language and communication by Dr. Alka Singh from Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University and Dr. Kaushal Yadav from Amity University. Now I would request our principal ma'am to present our guest with our green initiative as a token of respect. Now I would request our Professor Dr. Sangeeta Kotwal to unfold the theme of today's session and welcome our guest.
Good morning everyone. On behalf of ILAN, English Literary Association of Navyu, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you, especially to our guest speakers, Dr. Alka Singh from Ram Manohar Lohia Law University and Dr. Kaushal Yadav from Amity University, Lucknow. And a very special welcome to our principal, Professor Manjula Upadhyay also, because she has taken out very precious time from her busy schedule for us. The theme of today's workshop is language and communication. We kept it simple because these two words, language and communication, they hold immense possibilities. And if you discuss them, then there are numerous aspects of these two. Language is the most basic and most powerful tool of communication. When we want to convey our ideas, expressions, thoughts, feelings, then we use it as a medium, whether in verbal form or written form. But language is not only used to convey ideas. It transfers cultures, beliefs, traditions, values, and different languages of the world. They contain histories in them. Communication, on the other hand, is a two-way process, between individuals, between groups, or both. You can communicate through language because it is a very effective medium, but you can communicate without language also. So there are types of non-verbal communication also. For example, body language, gestures, and your expression, facial expression, especially from your eyes. So in many ways you can communicate. Then there is a visual medium also. Through colors, signs, signals also, you can communicate. But the most complex and the most interesting equation is between language and communication. And the interdependency of the two, that makes for a very fascinating study. So I'm sure your experts today, they are going to enlighten us, and in a very interesting manner, they are going to continue with this discourse on language and communication. So without any further delay, I'll hand over the mic to Shubhakshi for further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our principal, Dr. Manjula Upadhyay, to address the gathering with some valuable words.
Good morning, everybody. And most welcome to our two esteemed speakers today, Dr. Alka Singh from Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Law University and Dr. Kaushal Yadav from Amity University. These two esteemed guests will guide you on language and communication, as Professor Sangeeta Kotwal Madam told you. And we know that language is part of our culture, our heritage, and language, we communicate ourselves through language. But language is just one part of communication, and naturally communication is between two individuals or a person and to a group, like I am communicating to you. And there are many skills to communication. How impressively you communicate with others, especially when you are appearing for an interview. You require some communication skills, then only you are more impressive and there are better chances of your selection. So I think guidance of both the speakers will guide you towards language technical part also, how you can improve your language and what is the importance of language in your life and in society and in any country, and how it is related to culture, how it carries forward the culture. And the communication skill, they will tell you about the communication skill, and you will learn how to communicate with others, with the peer group, and with your teachers, with your guests, with your family, with society, with other human, anybody. You learn to communicate, and when you are appearing for any interview, which is most important for you, because if you are acquiring education, you are acquiring education to move forward in life and to acquire some job and to enhance your skills. It is part of your soft skills. When you learn your communication skills, it is soft skills which you learn to improve and to improve your communication, and they will tell about how to improve your communication. So I think it will improve your personality, because communication skill leads to better personality development. If you are a good communicator, because why out of these I think 100 students, why 1 or 2 students have been selected for comparing? It means that she has better communication skills. She is more impressive in expressing the language and communication to others. So you can also improve yourself, and such workshops help you to how to improve your personality. Therefore, I now hand over the mic to Shatakshi, and again welcome and thank our hosts, both the guests, because I will not be here for the whole session. And I extend my best wishes to the Elan committee members, that is English department, all the faculty members of the English department, especially head of the department, Professor Sangeeta Kotwal Madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the enlightening words. Now I would request Ma'am Neha Pandey to introduce Dr. Alka Singh.
Thank you, Sudhashi. Good morning to all of you. It is a great pleasure for me that I have given this opportunity to introduce such a versatile personality in front of you. Dr. Alka Singh ma'am is a faculty of English at Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University, Lucknow. She is a prolific writer and has written a fair number of books, to name a few as Postmodernism, Gender Roles in Postmodern World, Women Empowerment, Women, Issues of Exclusion and Inclusion, Issues in Canadian Literature, and Literature and Culture, Sense and Scenes from Pandemic. She is credited with English collection of poems as Colors of Blood and another collection of Hindi poems as Bhav Sanchar. Dr. Singh has widely served literature across the globe. She has been celebrated for her poems and editorials in national dailies and covering spaces uplifting national consciousness via national and international forums promoting art and literature. She is the recipient of 20 awards, honors, recognition, including recent Mission Shakti State Award from Government of Uttar Pradesh and Samman Patra for exceptionally contributing to National Education Policy 2020, academics, women's cause and creative writing. She is very soon coming up with her new writing enterprise for kids in a collection of poems called Joy. I respectfully invite Dr. Alkasim ma'am to come up on the podium and share her treasure of knowledge with us. Please come down.
Esteemed Principal of the College, Professor Mandira Upadhyay ji, Head of the Department English, Professor Sangeeta Kotwal ji, Professor Seema Sarkar, other esteemed members of the college, and resource person who will be sharing the class today with me. I would rather say a class because Professor Seema Sarkar had a talk with me regarding today's session to be called as a workshop. So when you say a workshop, it is rather more sort of a classroom than a monologue or than a lecture to be delivered. I would be, very happy even if 50% of whatever has been said over here today in the forward, in the upcoming discussions and the talk that we will be having regarding language and communication, as has been well put up by the other professors here, that it is a liquid term. When you say language and communication is a liquid term. Today, the biggest problem of the nations all around is communication. As Professor Upadhyay said, that it is from here that you start take a step ahead to set your career ultimately and find a place, a dignified place in the society. Mine is a first visit to this college. So I think it is for the first time that I am delivering a talk to a group of girl students only. More than 150 lectures I have delivered, and this is for the first time that I am delivering to such a close group. So I would be expecting rather more sort of an interactive session today, which would perhaps be responsible for what Aristotle says the cause for eudaimonia, the spirit of happiness that we shall carry. To understand that language is just life. It is an integral part of the life that has been gifted to us on earth, on this planet. It is an inclusive term. It is associated with so many disciplines today that anything happening around you is a part of communication, is a part of language behavior, is a part of the assertiveness that is there in people's mind, psyche and personality. So I would congratulate Professor Seema Sarkar and Professor Sangeeta Kotwal to think of a term or a workshop which in fact spaces almost everything all around you that is conditioning an individual mind today. Language and communication. How do we begin understanding? How do we take up language? Especially since most of the students sitting here are from the English department, I think. Yes. Yeah. So when you are saying language, immediately the first thing is that comes in the mind is that we are talking about the English language. And it's not about the mother tongue. Because English has peeked into our life, if not as a mother tongue, but as an auntie tongue at least. So I won't be saying as other professors all around and other linguists and grammarians, perhaps Professor Kaushal Yadav would be agreeing with me when I would say that it is not just the push of L1, into L2, but L2 has almost taken all elements into its scenario. So it is, when the child was born in this world, how could mother understood the grammar of the child? Just think over it. And you will be able to understand that how language is not to be taught. And how language is something that you are learning from everything. Right, the girl sitting next to you is teaching a language behavior right now. So, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving your precious time. So you see, when the child has come into this world, how mother could understand? Was the child making some grammatical sentences before the mother? Say yes or no?
No, ma'am.
What was the child doing? Just crying? But look at the way. The crying of the child. The child cried and mother could understand. Every mother understands the need of the child. Whether the child needs milk or is of some other requirement to be filled. Mother can make out the meaning that exists in the very sound made by the child. There was no grammar taught to the child. There was no language taught to the child. And the child could make out the reflexive cry, and the mother can interact with that cry, and the mother can understand the need of the child. Because it is not it is not meaning in the language. It is the competent brain of the human being which is responsible for generating language. Language is not taught. Language is a learned behavior. You imbibe. The mother imbibed the need of the child, and the mother could understand what the child went through the cries. So what was the first step of language learning? What was the first thing that we should take a note of in order to understand the grammar of any language, in order to understand or speak a language? What is it which is the first thing that should be given weightage, that should be considered as the most important thing? Because it is just because the child cried and the mother can make out the meaning, the mother provided the milk to the child and the child is satisfied. So what was it? Was the child knew that in this way if I cry the mother will understand? No. So what is it? Sound. The sound that forms the image. The relationship between the sound and the image was responsible for the millions and millions of morphological structures that you have today, on the basis of which you frame the syntactical structures and you tell people that this is correct, this is incorrect, or perhaps this is wrong and not so wrong. So it is, this particular sound system, this sound system was recognized. Have you heard of Ferdinand de Saussure? Have you heard, how many of you have heard of Ferdinand de Saussure? No? Undergraduate students. The famous grammarian and linguist Ferdinand de Saussure. He said that, the image is formed out of a sign. The sign, language is a sign, and you frame image out of it. Why do we call cat a cat? Why do we call cat a cat? Because you were told, you were prescribed with certain meaning. You were told that if you will hear the meow sound, this is the image and this is the meaning of a cat. Because it is the specific feature of a cat which is not like a dog, which is not like a rat, which is not like a man, which is not like this, which is not like that. And you reached at a point where now no more references are possible to be clubbed, to be made a meaning of that particular sound or the image. And now that blind spot, which is technically called aporia, became the meaning of that sign, that image. So Saussure says that this is the relationship of sign, signifier and signified. You keep on referring in order to find meaning of something. Why? Because language is referential in nature. Language is arbitrary in nature. Language is flexible in nature. Language is a learned behavior and not a prescribed text. So this sign, these references that you make, the references that I'll share with ma'am certain rubrics regarding this, perhaps will help you better understand that how do we draw references to an image or to a sign before you reach to a blind spot and consider it as the spot of meaning of that particular sign or the image. Because language has no meaning. It is the potential of the competent brain of the human child that makes meaning out of language. And that is why your grammar starts from the study of sound and not the study of sentences. It is the study of sound from where your grammatical structures start taking shapes. This sound is clubbed in small clusters to be called as a syllable. And based on the syllabic structure in English language, because most of you belong to the English department, so I am specifically referred to the English language and communication. So these clusters of sound system, they are clubbed together to be shaped as words or word structures, which is broadly called the study of words morphology. Study of sound, phonology. And this morphology is then responsible for construction of the sentences based on certain prescribed rules, and then later with the help of the generative grammar into complex framework of sentences after phrases and clauses. So this is structure of phrases, clauses, sentences that you study under syntax. Now these syntactical structure, again you shape it in the form of the comprehension, compositions, different styles of prose, to be again branched into descriptive one, narrative one, expository one, scientific one, persuasive one. And depending upon the shape that you give, the form that you give, depending upon the form, not only just content, the form, you start drawing meaning out of it. That is semantics. And based on the semantics, you again enter into a wider branch called hermeneutics, process of interpretation. So text is a phenomenon. It is phenomena. It is every time happening. It is phenomenal in nature. It is every time happening. So how shall we use this board?
You see, what is mind? What is it? What is it?
You see what we were discussing? Am I audible?
Yeah.
I have taken bigger classes. You see, this is what you started with. Sound, the crying of the baby, the sign, the image, Siswar's first information responsible for the signifying. Sign, signifiers, and then reaching to a blind spot called signifier. This into clusters of sound called syllable. You must have read in your school syllabus also about syllable. The syllabic structure of any language, that is syllable, responsible for the formation of a word or words, or maybe group of words, simple words, compound words, using suffixes, prefixes, complex. This is responsible for the framing of phrases, clauses, sentences. And this you have shaped as different prose and poetry. Prose in the form of articles, and as part of higher education in the form of the different researches. From here, you start making meaning. Say you are very hungry. You are very hungry. It happens after having 2-3 classes, you get hungry. So you are very hungry and you want something to eat. You want food to eat. And if I spread rice, dal, salad, everything on the table. Everything all together on the table. Lo, khao. Will you be eating it? But if I put the same food in beautiful bowls, beautiful crockery, nice spoons with, handcrafted handles, even if you are full, you would like to taste, you would like to have it. Why? Why? Presentation, form, the manner of reception, because it is conveying some meaning to you. It is conveying some meaning to you. From here,
Meaning, you enter into the process of interpretation. What is this? Phonology. What is this? Morphology. What is this? Syntax. Semantics. And what is this? Hermeneutics. Very basic to learning a language, specifically English language, the most sophisticated, the most flexible and most structured language of the world. Perhaps that is why it is one of those widely considered language of convenience and easiness for carrying the businesses in life. You see, from here, as part of the higher education, if you would have PG student, I would have taken forward here phenomena. Researches are the part of the phenomena. So I have stopped here because you are graduate student. So you see, this is basic grammar structure. And from where we have started? Study of sound. So how to read a language? Reading a language. How do you read a language? When you listen yourself, not only others. When you listen yourself, whatever you listen, then only you read it. Huh? That is listening. Bacon says in his famous popular essay of studies, reading maketh a full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. He has described the basic skills of English language. First you read. When you listen to yourself and you read, then only you can write. Writing. Then only you are able to write. So which is primary? Which is primary? Listening, reading. That is primary. This is primary. So teaching of grammar should start from the study of phonology, study of sound, which sadly is not taught and has become the domain of the linguistics only. Which is actually the mainstream part. So you know what is happening when you start writing, this becomes text. Text that you create is always in the process. It is not an event. A poetry that you create, a prose that you create. So far as I remember, in all graduate level, students are aware with the types of prose styles. The descriptive one, the narrative one, the expository one, you all understand. So you see, text becomes phenomenal. Text, there is no one meaning. When you go into post-graduation, when you will start your, when you will have an interface with the theory classes, you will see that thinkers have started telling you that there is no meaning in the language. There is no meaning in the text. There is no one meaning in the text. Center cannot hold the meaning. There is no logos. The most revolutionary theory from Jacques Derrida, deconstruction. There is nothing outside the text. So your text is a phenomena. And if the text is a phenomena, text in common parlance is a broader thing. Anything around you is a text. A sentence before you is a text. Say if I write number 7. If I ask you what is meaning of number 7, why the hell we should bother about number 7? What am I supposed to do with number 7? हमको क्या करना है? होगा कुछ 7. But if I tell you that in room number 7, you will be distributed with your prizes and certificates, it becomes a phenomenon. It becomes responsible for drawing meaning out of it. So the text that you create is not an event. It is a process, continuous process of what? Meaning making. So there is no one meaning in the language. It is the competent brain of the human child, the human being which draws meaning out of the text. And meaning is continuous. It is not an event. It continuously happens. So how do we go about the concept of communication if language has this structure? Are you able to see on the board? Yes, ma'am. We started with text. If I am to deliver this lecture, if I am, right now, I am communicating with you and you too are communicating with me via the text, via the discussion going on. As Professor Sangeeta said, that you cannot not communicate. There are always gestures going on. You're nodding head, you're smiling. So something or the other you are communicating. So what we are doing? We are not just simply delivering. We are not just simply talking about the text. There is always encoding going on. Encoding going on from the side of the sender, from the side of the speaker, maybe addresser, if it is a formal event, or maybe a writer, if it is written text. I will start encoding, like how to explain, with what way to explain. Shall I use illustrations to explain the concept? Shall I use specification to illustrate the concept? Shall I use the method of analysis to illustrate the concept? Shall I categorically divide the topic into its branches to explain the text? Shall I first talk about the causes of the topic that we are discussing? Or shall I start with the discussion of the effect that the topic might create in the future about the text? What shall I do? What am I doing? I am continuously brainstorming. I am continuously trying to cope up the right message. I am continuously trying to find out what should I do, what is the age group, how far my students would be able to grab me or the text. So continuously, you are not just simply speaking, you are not just simply writing the text, you are encoding it. Encoding it through illustration, specification, classification, analysis, cause, effect, categorization, persuasion, qualification. It is so many methodologies. So, you are doing continuously. And what is happening here? In order to understand, you are not just simply listening Listening is just collecting the garbage. Projective listening is trying to focus the meaning, something where you are actively involved. And accordingly your gestures changes. Accordingly, every individual mind is different from the other. Every individual mind is different from the other. Therefore, the process of reception of a message is different. The way we receive the message is also different. So what is happening here? That is, you are not only simply listener or receiver or addressee, but you are decoding. So what is happening? You are the decoder. You are decoder. The moment I said number 7, you thought, you listened, but you were unable to draw the meaning. When were you able to draw the meaning? When you were given the context, when you were given the background knowledge, when you were told the factors behind the mental obstacles that should filter the message in the right, and you should drop the right spirit of the message. So what did you do? You decoded the message. And even, how can I be sure that whatever I am delivering, you are able to grab it? So continuously, I am seeking your feedback. Back. I am seeking your feedback. Continuously. So what is happening? It is a continuous process. It is a process. It is not just the event. And this is what various linguists and various scientists have defined it through various models. Dance model, Watlabik model. You will get in the books, when you will refer books or even on the internet, you will get different models of communication. And you will find that with the passage of time, Shannon Weaver, two scientists, social scientists, the two linguists, they helped us understand that it is a communication which is continuous. Continuously it is a process. What is happening? Look at the war between Ukraine and Russia. The moment the blasting in the one part of the world is happening, the another is responding. You're getting this back message, another is responding. And it is almost 1.5 years for the war which is going. So with what is happening? Continuously the communication, the language is being toned every day. It is boosted up every day with the revolutionary technology that we have. So it has become a process. I cannot prescribe you with certain texts and rules and you will learn a language. It is a continuous learned behavior. It is a process and not an event. And it is not just two-way process. There are multiple perspectives involved. That is why communication is inclusive. It is inclusivity. With the emergence of the revolutionary 20th and 21st century theories, which you will be reading in your post-graduation if you are going to opt for the social sciences, you will see that they have exasperated almost the entire world of language and communication. It is, you see, postmodernism. What is postmodernism? Modernism is about being rational, being logical. If I'm saying something, I had to provide some logic behind it. That is modernism. Being rational. Or maybe with the help of certain binary variables I'll be trying, or maybe referrals I'll be trying to explain the concept. And what postmodernism says? It says that there is fragmentation. Every individual psyche is different. There is no such meaning in the text. Roland Barthes says that author is dead. He says that author is dead. What does it mean? It means that going by the biography of the reader, going by the intentions of the reader, going by the understanding how the writer is, not reader, sorry, writer, or how the speaker is trying to demonstrate the conception. If you are perceiving it in the same spirit, you are making a mistake. So the author is dead. And who is alive? If the author is dead, who is alive?
Reader.
Stanley Fish says, is there a text in the class? Is there a text in the class? You will get, if you search on the internet, you will get the essay by Stanley Fish. So then what happened? Once a professor came inside the class, he wrote randomly something on the board. Just whatever came to the mind, he wrote it on the board. And he asked the students to make meaning out of it. Miracle. It was a miraculous response that the professor received from the class. The individuals have drawn different and colorful meaning out of the text that was written on the board. And that's why he wrote, is there a text in the class? Because it is reader, you perspective, not I perspective. It is you perspective which is important. How you perceive it, and how do you perceive it? Based on the nuances of the language, based on the cultural take of the language, based on the background of the language, based on the preoccupied perceptions that you might be having regarding the text, based on the relationship between you and the speaker or the writer, based on the other affective factors like anxiety, stress, and maybe other psychological barriers. So many factors. So you does not remain in isolation. You is a part of the larger ambit of the system. So you need to check out the expected objections. You need to check out the barriers, psychological, your mental filters. That is why I am saying it is inclusivity. The fragmentation says, intentional fallacy says, fallacious reasoning might be one thing which is responsible for the improper reception of the message, and the message may not have been received in its proper spirit. What you must have heard of, some of these thinkers, 21st century thinkers, have become great revolutionary, and they don't belong to one particular discipline. They have revolutionized almost all academic disciplines. Like, you see, Freud. What did he say? Freud. You must have heard of a world famous book, Interpretation of Dreams. Do you dream? Sapne aate? Do you believe in dreams?
Yes.
You believe in dreams? How many of you believe and how many of you don't believe in dreams? You don't believe in dreams? Why? Why you don't believe in dreams? There must be certain reason, na? You must be thinking that. And those who are believing in the dreams, why do you believe in dreams? Because the moment you are coming alive in the original position, you find it is vanishing from everywhere. Sometimes in dreams we start crying also. We start laughing also. Look at the child in the initial stages of the development, baby development. Have you seen the child? Sometimes child, they laugh as if somebody is pushing, and the baby is laughing. And sometimes you also start crying. Sometimes बहुत जोर से चौंक के उठ जाते. It happens?
Yes, ma'am.
But then the moment you come in the region, अरे सपना था, छोड़ो सपना था, छोड़ो. Why छोड़ो? Because Freud says that since we do not have access, we don't have technology to access that dark world. We do not have technology to access that dark world, and we do not have any alternative options to peek into that world and bring out the fact. Maybe someday somebody would do that. Who knows? And we will start believing in the meaning. So it is a process. It talks, language and communication is about alternate possibilities. Alternate possibilities. It is about alternate possibilities. That is why, see, every discipline is celebrating and teaching the rejection of meta-narrative. Some time back we were so hesitant to talk about the gays and the lesbians. But now today you have the Honorable Supreme Court judgment before you, and everybody's right has an equal meaning in the society. They too have a right to occupy a dignified space and have meaning to their life. Alternate possibility. Look at the communication going on. Till 18th, 19th century, people were hesitant to talk about it, were not part of the classroom teaching. But today, the law students in the class, they are discussing this judgment from Honorable Supreme Court of India. Look at the women's position. Look at triple talaq. Sometime back, people were hesitant to talk about it. 2018 Honorable Supreme Court judgment regarding Sabrimala case. You must have heard. These examples I am taking because you are watching television and papers and reading newspapers. What has happened? The ladies were not allowed, but now after this because of the menstruation. And look at the way the menstruation has got the interpretation. Look at the broad scenario. When you are talking about the decent allocation of health budget, how can we ignore the basic requirement associated with the women's health, which is again inclusive of the menstruation? So what is happening? Women's studies, they are getting broader, becoming a part of the bigger narrative. That is why it is said rejection of meta-narrative and respect for local. Respect for local. Mini narrative. Now you get the novels and the drama where Rikshawala is a narrative. Where eunuch is a narrative, Pushwant Singh Delhi. Films are being made on the minor, marginalized, at periphery, and there is a continuous debate going on between center and margin, center versus margin. Continuously. And then debate itself is a term which needs a broader understanding when we are talking about language and communication. Debate is not about discussion. Debate is not conversation. What is debate? Argument. What type of argument? What can be debated? You cannot just debate on sunrises in the east. Can you debate? Yes. Because if sun is rising here, there might be some other part of the world where sun is. So that can also be debated. What is happening then? It is about convincing argument. You have to start making up for convincing argument. That is, I need a pros, I need a proposition to place my version, to place my sentences in a space where I can convince you. It is convincing in nature. And how do you convince you? When it is backed up with the logics, which is not fallacious. Logic which is not fallacious. Where facts may be out of how nature works. Where facts may be how the experts are observing and how the empirical researches are taking place. Or based on the certain established opinion, then only I can be convinced. That is why language is arbitrary. Language is referential, and you have to think that if you are writing a paper, is it a paper or something more than just swapping of information? A woman without her man is nothing. A woman without her man is nothing. A woman without her man is nothing. Very famous example you get on the net also by Lean Truss, famous grammarian by Lean Truss. One is demonstrating patriarchal setup. One talks of the feminist theory. The moment you make the same sentence with the different punctuation marks, the meaning is changed. So what is happening? It is a process. It is about inclusivity. It is about fragmentation. It is about the local narrative. It is about the periphery. It is about the debate between center and margin. Perhaps language and communication is one topic that reigns supreme in almost every discipline, all academic disciplines. And it is not just a language, it is not just the gestures, it is not just between the lateral, horizontal, or maybe formal, informal, but it is about continuous involvement, making the text a phenomenal process. So I leave you here with a suggestion and recommendation that start first listening the nuances of language, the structure of language, the grammar of language, the syllabic structure. What do we mean by CVC, BBC, BC? If you have not heard, start your research and you will come to know that it is integral part of life. It is life